classic example of setting up a non-irrevocable trust that was dedicated to a service that not even the government, because it's just like locked so tight that the government can't even get at that money.
Yeah, that's right. And he was pretty shrewd.
He was
The Howard Hughes trust or estate was a medical.
medical.
A medical. I had nothing to do with airlines or whatever
Right.
technology.
Now that the largest researchers with stem cell research because of that. They're doing some great things now. He's quite a genius.
There are a couple of things that I thought were important to point out. Is first of all, anytime you've got company matching, you will not get a better return on your investment.
Yeah, definitely
You
do
should
that.
sign up for that of every dollar they'll match
Yeah.
as a minimum. The other thing is, I have made now a discovery. This is for some of you younger 40-ish types in here, but I went for the IRA way back when, and with the thought, the traditional IRA. Well, I will be in a lower tax bracket, and it won't cost me as much. Well, what I've learned when I looked at it is if you're doing your job for retirement at all well, you won't be in a lower tax bracket. If you're in a lower tax bracket, you've probably failed in your planning. So that makes the traditional IRA not of any particular value. Roth, different question, you can take it off the front end.
Yeah, I wish I had put my money in the Roth earlier.
Yeah, Roth.
Actually, when I started.
I wish I could put it in a Roth.
Well, right
And-
now, I gotta take out a good chunk every year and pay income tax on it
There, and let me just, this is a plug kind of for whole life insurance, but I'm not selling it, okay? But this is a fact today. The laws are written in such a way that there's a joke, among some people. They call it the rich man's Roth. That is, if you have too many assets, buy a big whole life insurance policy. Because with whole life insurance, there are laws written to protect how you can extract that money. So you can take a loan out tax-free, and you can work it down. Let's say you have a $2 million whole life policy. Now I'm assuming you bought it at age 20, right? So it's nice and cheap. And so when you're 65 and you start paying it down, you're paying no tax on that money that you're withdrawing. But it reduces your residual, okay? But then when you pass on, you'll still have a little left, let's say. You can pass that on to your heirs, tax-free. So you're getting a lot of benefits there, and you're avoiding taxes. So, that's something that a lot of people don't readily know. But now, of course, the law could change tomorrow. There's real nuances of whole life insurance, too, that you got to be careful with.
So, one of the things you talked about, and I've seen you talked about a lot in these kinds of discussions, is you equate standard deviation with risk. And as you pointed out, and as other people in the audience pointed out, you only take a loss when you make a sale. Now, standard deviation is only a good proxy for risk if you do not have the option of deciding when you sell. So how, I guess, as someone who's been in the financial world and an engineer, how do you think of risk? And how do you, is there a more
Tangible?
Yeah, a more tangible, a more effective way of thinking of risk than just thinking of risk as standard deviation?
Maybe so. Now, let me first say that the whole purpose of that math and that equation and so on is basically showing mathematically that if you have offsetting investments, and you have different weightings, okay, and there's software now that can do that automatically. In other words, you don't have to think about it. You can minimize the risk, meaning the lesser rate of return, and you can increase. You'll still get a good rate of return. You won't get 2% or 3%. You may still get 10%, and and you're not too concerned about the market crashing tomorrow. So to me, risk, I've seen the definition of risk is fear. If you want the simplest definition. Risk is fear. And it's,
If you want to do this, start out by getting yourself a copy of Mill Standard 882, which is the system safety document for DOD. It has a very good presentation of risk, and the problem is all business risk and all quality and management risk is dead wrong and will lead you astray. First rule is if you're not measuring your risk in at least orders of magnitude, if you're not using an exponential scale to measure your risk on, you ain't doing your risk right. Because if you go, oh, well, there's a 25%, a 50%, a 75, and a 95, and a 90%. Those are standard business risk models. None of those you care about. Is it 1 in 10 to the minus 7th, or 1 in 10 to the minus 5th, 1 in 10 to the minus 3rd, or 1 over 10 that I'm worried about? That's the way you bin it. And if you're way up there, you got a problem. If you're way down there, don't lose any sleep over it.
Well, I think you should do a presentation on that.
About-
Sounds fascinating.
So what you're saying is, you're talking about risk assessment, right?
Right.
Level, green, red, yellow.
That's exactly right. And that, you got it's the chart of many colors, which is, you do the consequence and the probability of occurrence.
Yep.
And this is
Severity
for,
and consequence.
this is for an individual risk. The variance thing is actually discussing risk mitigation.
Right.
Getting out of bed in the morning is a risk.
that sounds like, what's it called, Poseidon?
Depends on where you're dead.
Poisson,
Poisson.
and
Yes.
Poisson estimates the binomial distribution.
That is a way to do it.
So I mean, is that, you mentioned the exponential?
Well, the Poisson will be on a factor of 2 rather than a factor of 10.
Oh,
And it
okay.
doesn't really matter, it's just that your numbers look funny when you do them.
Okay.
On a Poisson distribution, you wind up with 5.7.3.2 times 10 to the minus, or times e to the 5th, you know.
Really?
Don't want to do that.
Oh, you guys are heading into
Okay.
Fibonacci.
Yeah,
As much as I love that in our program, we're diverging a
So
little
thank
bit.
you, yeah.
I don't know what
The
risk.
water the air's getting a little thin.
So, Ron?
I don't know what risk means when you get down to financial planning. Okay? You got to invest your money in something, okay? It's going to be risky. I've been investing in mutual funds. Okay, I got about a quarter of my portfolio in mutual funds, municipal funds. Municipal funds. Okay, it's been over 20 years now. I haven't got stuck yet. And I invest in BB or less because you get a better return. I haven't got stuck
Are
yet.
these all Albuquerque, New Mexico?
All of New Mexico bonds.
Okay.
Even in California.
No, no, but it's all.
Those Detroit bonds.
I
Yes,
rely-
Detroit.
I rely on a broker who does a good job of picking bonds and getting them.
Well, that's a good
But he
point.
recently joined a financial consulting firm because he wanted more flexibility for his clients. So I went over there, and the guy gave me a pitch. He wants to take my entire portfolio and convert it into mutual funds. Now, the trouble with financial planners, they get a percent and a half. Okay? You buy a mutual fund, there's an overhead in there of about 1% or so. So you're paying the guy 1.5% to pick you a mutual fund.
Yeah.
I'm not taking.
You're not gonna do that, so
No,
see,
I'm not gonna
see,
do
that's where you gotta be cautious,
Now,
like I
if you
said.
don't know what you're doing, yeah, these guys are good guys. But,
Yeah, but you gotta be cautious, ask a lot of questions,
yeah.
and if you're uncomfortable, don't do anything. You know, that's always the same thing.
Pay to reduce risk, then don't pay to reduce fear.
Yeah.
Right. But, yeah,
Risk
I don't know
is
what
feasible.
risk means. You know, in financial
Oh, yes, yes.
So, thank you for your time. I
Yeah.
guess now's the time.